was interesting to listen to Molly's presentation because she seemed to have genuine reverence and respect for Mike. And I got to tell you, I hadn't met him, hadn't heard about him till today, and where she seemed to go into a really good place, he put me in a place of anxiety that I haven't felt since senior year in college. Friday morning, 8 a.m. advanced econ class. When I was in college, Thursday night was the party night, so I probably didn't get in until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Walked into a class to which I had never even bought the textbook for, and here's Mike showing graphs, charts, decimal points. Mike, it's 7:45 in the morning. Give some of us a chance to wake up, okay? So, anyway. As Dan said, I'm Marty Brooks, President and CEO of the Wisconsin Center District, and this past Sunday, I celebrated 5 years in that position and 5 years in Milwaukee. After probably the first week, but certainly after 5 years, I got to tell you, I love it here. And this is just a great city, a great region, and I'm just so pleased and honored to be with you all today. Before Milwaukee, I spent 11 years in St. Louis, 5 as the Executive Vice President and General Manager of the Scottrade Center, which is the home ice of the NHL St. Louis Blues, also the Peabody Opera House that was property connected to our building. I also spent 6 years as the Senior Vice President, General Manager of the America Center Convention Complex, and what used to be called the Edward Jones Dome, which was the home of the NFL St. Louis Rams before they went back to Los Angeles. As Dan said, prior to that, I spent 22 years with Madison Square Garden. I have experience in television and sports television production, venue management, event booking, executing huge concerts, events, stadium construction, large-scale renovation, and expansion projects. I'll talk more about that later. I could spend my time up here talking about expectations of 2023 in any of those lanes, but I'm going to spend the majority of my time following up what Molly was talking about employee-employer dynamics. First, what the heck is the Wisconsin Center District? In corporate speak, I could tell you that the Wisconsin Center is a quasi-governmental special purpose district established by the state in 1994 to own and operate 3 venues in downtown Milwaukee, the Wisconsin Center, Miller High Life Theater, UWM Panther Arena. We have 80 full-time employees and 250 part-time staff and are governed by a 17-member board of directors comprised of leaders from the public and private sectors. It's kind of how Mike would tell it. It's too early for corporate speak, so in plain terms, the WCD owns and operates 3 venues which put on phenomenal events and act as a baseline catalyst for the hospitality market in downtown Milwaukee and the region. In short, we make kick-butt events happen. While we host dozens of concerts, sports, and consumer shows, our core business is putting on spectacular meetings and conventions. It's easy for any of us as residents to totally overlook why that matters to us, but here's the scoop on the meetings and convention industry. It does matter. Meetings and conventions mean visitors to this phenomenal city experiencing all we have to offer and leaving their dollars behind here in Milwaukee. They fly into General Mitchell Airport, rent a car or cab or take an Uber into downtown, where they check into their hotel, eat in our restaurants, and if they're smart, have added a day or 2 to their stay to go to a Bucks or Brewers game. They hit the lakefront, patronize our museums. All along the way, these guests are generating tax revenue for our city, county, and state. And this boosted tax base means more employees to support a vibrant downtown. A vibrant downtown allows us to continue to attract things like pro sports teams, phenomenal restaurants, and a world-class fine arts scene. It's a wonderful cycle that starts with visitors and guests. So what's ahead for 23? To better predict the future, I'm going to start with a little bit in the look in the past of the WCD. My arrival there in 2018 was a wild way to start a new career chapter. I did not have any exposure to the team I was acquiring or the culture I was walking into. Economic predictor and call to action number 1. If you want results, you better pay attention to the culture you are building, and if necessary, be prepared to take bold action to change it. We conducted our first ever employee engagement survey in the fall of 2018 and received the results in early 2019. Let me tell you, it was a tough report to read. Staff felt disconnected, uninformed, isolated, and unempowered, and they let me know it. I knew that we would never be able to grow our business if we didn't put the time and energy into our team first. While it was a gut punch to read the survey, it was the first step in changing the culture. From that survey, a CEO vision was developed, not a corporate mission statement, but specific to me and my leadership. For WCD venues to be recognized for providing superb, captivating, and buzzworthy experiences. By thinking unconventionally and taking strategic risks, those charged with bringing this vision to life can stand tall about their role in transforming the city they love into a destination not to be missed. So what does this mean? It means my expectation is for us to be recognized as being experts in the field of live events. It means every single employee is not only encouraged, but empowered to come into work every day with an entrepreneurial mindset. And it means that every single member of our team, starting with me, is expected to accept personal accountability for doing everything we can to raise the profile of Milwaukee. I love the CEO vision, but it doesn't really flow off the tongue very easily. So to break down the barriers, we further distilled it down into 3 primary values, which are part of our culture and our vernacular every day. Be bold, be proud, be experience obsessed, BPX. These values were originally curated as a call to action for management to empower our part-time guest services staff and give them the tools to act in the moment when a guest had a concern. If the staff person's actions followed those 3 simple qualifications, management would back them every time. I expected BPX values to make a dent in our organizations. I didn't anticipate what came next. The BPX values not only took hold on the part-time guest services staff, but it really became a rallying cry for every member of our staff, from my office down. Nothing is more important to our business than our people, and my clear directive to my leadership team is to position the WCD as an employer of choice. I read Molly's article last week, and a sentence that hit me like a ton of bricks was, "It's becoming more and more important that we take ourselves more seriously in terms of what we're offering candidates, as opposed to thinking that they're dying to come to work for us." This mindset is what we have used to use the filters of being bold, proud, and experience obsessed in every decision we have made since 2019. If you weren't thinking this way, you need to be, because acting through these values has driven the transformation of the WCD culture and had an absolute direct line on us successfully surviving COVID and thriving into 2024 with a huge expansion. Let's talk a little bit about the meetings and convention industry. I'm very excited to share with you that meetings and conventions are back. It's no secret that the hospitality market was one of the industries hit hardest by COVID. Our job is welcoming people to do the one thing that was most dangerous during this time: gather. By using our values of be bold, proud, and experience obsessed, my leadership team did yeoman's work to keep our building open and our people employed. Events like the presidential election recount and a career highlight for me, hosting first the city's and the federal COVID vaccine clinic, were amazing. Anyone here get their COVID vaccine at the Wisconsin Center? Well, you join 144,000 other people who got their shots in our facility over 4 months. As the CEO vision mandates, we took strategic risks in 2020, leveraging the market to restructure existing debt, which allowed us to bolster our cash reserves by reducing our debt service payments. While this part of our history that year didn't make headlines, I can look back confidently and tell you it was one of the most critical moves that got us through COVID and set us up for future success. Even as our teams were thinking unconventionally to keep the doors open, the fact is that the meetings and convention industry in 20 and 21 was very rough. And while Q1 of 22 was difficult, business came back strong in the balance of 22. A baseline measurement of success for venues like ours is number of events. In 2019, which was a record year for us, we had 267 events across our 3 venues. In 2022, we had 247. And a reminder, we didn't really get going until Q2 of that year. And for 23, our goal is to better our best year ever with 300 events across the 3 venues. Now, just to be clear, an event can be 1 day or 100 days. It still counts as one event. It could be in one room or the entire campus. It still counts as one event. For those of you in the audience today who have businesses connected to the hospitality industry, what this means to you is you really need to be prepared for hundreds of thousands of people coming into downtown this area, perhaps getting their first and hopefully not their last taste of what Milwaukee is all about. My second economic predictor for 2023 and a call to action for you is this: groups are returning. Greet them with the Milwaukee hospitality I have enjoyed since I moved here and encourage them to visit us again soon. Borrow our mantra of being proud of Milwaukee and proud of what your company adds to the city, because the more visitors we earn, the better it is for everyone. Speaking of more visitors, I'm happy to share some updates about the WCD's progress on doing just that. The Wisconsin Center is in the midst of the largest construction project in the state, a $456 million expansion, which will double the size of our building and double the opportunities that we bring to Milwaukee. This project was a long time coming. In fact, the current South Building, which opened in 1998, did so with the expectation that one day it would expand. And in fact, the North Wall was specifically constructed to come down for that expansion. For many reasons, over many years, the expansion simply never successfully came to fruition. So when the WCD board hired me in 2018, one of their directives was either get the expansion to the finish line or let's put it to bed and not do it. We took off on the fast track to get it done. In 2019, we hired CAA Icon to serve as our owner's rep. Later that year, we ordered the team of TVS and EUA, the architectural contract, followed in January of 20, the construction management contract to Gilbane Smith. Preliminary design and pre-construction work was performed to identify what the cost of that project would be to deliver the right convention center for Milwaukee. The project budget was established at that time to be $420 million. On March 6th of 20, we presented the renderings to the board, and at that meeting I shared with them, now this is March 6th of 2020, I'm standing in front of my board and I've asked, well, there's this coronavirus thing, or we don't know what it is. Is that affecting your business? And my comment to them was, in all sincerity, we've gotten a couple of calls from event planners wondering what's going on. No events have been canceled, business as usual. Well, a week later, the NBA canceled its season and the world as we knew it came to a shutdown. So we were perplexed. What do we do? And as one of my favorite phrases is, man plans, God laughs. Our original timeline that we created in August of 2019 had us presenting the renderings on March 6th and had our board voting on the project April 2nd of 2000. Everything we had done went back a year prior, where we identified the April 2nd board meeting as being key and the right time to bring to the board this project for their approval. Our board is made up of appointees from city, county, and state officials. We knew that a general election was happening on April 7th of 2020, which meant that members of our board were likely to change after that April 2nd board meeting. So we wanted to not have to start over with the project, get the election on April 2nd, recognizing that if we waited, because of the impact COVID was having on the way finances were being looked at and using a 3-year look back on financing, which meant we would have had to use our 2020 financials for any potential bonding, it wouldn't be till 2027 that we could really go to market with any bonds. So we took a strategic risk, and we're committed and brought on April 2nd of 2020 to our board a vote on this project. Much to our pleasant surprise, kind of uncertain, the board approved us moving forward with the expansion. Takes me to economic predictor number 3 and the third call to action. Markets will continue to be unpredictable. Be obsessive about who you surround yourself with and empower them to do the same. Communicate clearly about your expectations and create a culture where feedback is openly received. Without the team in 2020, the project wouldn't be where it is today. Here's a quick look. When we broke ground on October 21st, the price of steel was hitting record highs. That was pretty intimidating for a project that will require 6,000 tons of steel. But we surrounded ourselves with the best possible team from the outset of the project and charged everyone with thinking unconventionally and taking strategic risks. This team's expertise and guidance has led us through the issuance and completion of the 5 bid packs, all of which have been returned, and I'm proud to share the project is on time for substantial completion to be March 22nd of 2024, and our first events being hosted in May of 24. Upon its completion, the expanded Wisconsin Center is anticipated to bring an additional 100,000 guests to the city annually, can create 2,300 full-time jobs, and deliver $12.6 billion in economic impact to the state over 30 years. All of it being driven from being bold, proud, and experience-obsessed. Now, there's something for you to contemplate as you prepare your businesses for 2024, the Republican National Convention. The event is a perfect example of why it's so important for cities to have a robust meetings and convention backbone. The walkability from the Fiserv Forum to the Convention Center campus provides these type of huge events a connectivity and ease of use that's difficult to find in other cities. The RNC is anticipated to attract 45,000 visitors, 15,000 credential media from around the globe, and $200 million in economic impact. If you're not already using 2023 to prepare for 24, you need to start now. Now, I'm not an economist. In fact, I like to poke fun at economists. But working deeply every day in construction management, hospitality, and live events, all of which are economic harbingers of the future, my 3 predictions for 2023 are: events are back, construction challenges continue to remain, but doesn't make working impossible, and put the time into the people you trust to get the work done. Find the values you need to make your business thrive, and remember, be bold, be proud, be experience obsessed. Thank you all.